Hello and welcome to the episode 8 of the Learning Guitar series. In the episode 7 we discussed the C shape, and of course given the nature of the guitar as a transposing instrument, we can derive all other keys just by transposing it. And right now I'm actually in G, and we say that that this is one of our reference notes, as this is basically the root note. We looked at the scale, Ionian scale that goes with it. Some people call this a major scale. I tend to call it Ionian because, as you will see in the future, there is more than one major scale as such. And by that I mean a scale that applies to a major chord. This week we are discussing the arpeggios that go with this particular shape. There are not that many compared to when we studied the E major shape. But nevertheless, there is some interesting things that come out of this particular shape. And as we move forward in the future, the connections are also very important. If you need a little bit of background on how the arpeggios are constructed, the vertical structure, horizontal structure, etc., you might want to refer to lesson 2 and lesson 5. So in terms of arpeggios, well, first of all, we have 2 sets of triads. That's the first one, and that's the second one. As always, we're gonna practice it chromatically, right? Don't forget to tell yourself what is it that you're playing, as in, right now I'm playing D again, okay? Because this is a D note. So C sharp, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, F sharp, F, E, and, because that's important for your visual memory, so for the so-called photographic memory, okay? And of course we do them backwards. Right? And in alternated fashion. So basically one up, one down. Same thing for the second triad. So in this case, again, this is our reference. So this is our root note. That's D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A flat, B, C, C sharp, D. Okay, and backwards. And alternated. At this stage of your development, I still suggest that you practice everything in alternate picking. When you stack these 2 triads together, you get probably one of the most known basic sweep picking exercises. Right? This is like a very, very common starting point for sweep picking exercises is this stack of these 2 triads. But as I said, at this stage, I suggest you still practice everything in alternate picking because it kind of helps you establishing your tempo. Especially if you're working, and you should, and you're working to a metronome, your sense of timing will improve. And sweep picking, especially at slow speed, can be very deceiving in terms of you nailing your timing, okay? So before you move to that, and we will discuss picking techniques at some point, for the sake of practice, when you're practicing, you might want to still stick to alternate picking. When you're playing, feel free. So again, in this shape, we also can develop a major 7 arpeggio. And again, same thing. Now, doing it this way, also, you are automatically practicing string skipping. So, and that cannot be bad, right? Just because you're jumping, right? From here, you're back here. Again, try if you can stick to alternate picking, okay? Then, of course, backwards and alternated. Okay? At this point, if anything, you want to start kind of trying to confuse your brain, I call it that way, in terms of picking patterns. What I mean is, like, it's true that we're alternate picking. So in this case, I was doing down, up, okay? And since it's 4 notes, that makes it very symmetrical, okay? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. What you want to do at some point is start practicing it reversed. So start from an upstroke. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Because that, if you're not used to it, so if you're not used to have an upstroke on a strong accent, so on the 1, basically, it will kind of confuse your brain a little bit. And I find the idea of practicing everything also reversed in your right hand useful, because when you're playing, again, you don't really want to think about it that much. You just want to be playing. That should be the main idea. So try, see how it feels. So basically, this is a reversed picking, okay? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And same thing, like you can do it for the opposite direction. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? And obviously, with the alternated pattern, right? So, detour aside, as I say, at this stage, since, I mean, especially for those of you who are started from the first lesson and then follow me all the way up to here, might be a good time now to start introducing that. So as you're practicing also the older stuff, you might find it interesting to start reversing your picking pattern. So beside major 7, we also have a major 6. Okay, same drill, right? The drill never changes, right? Reversed, just backwards. Also, we have a major 9. Again, another interesting pattern in the future if you want to practice with picking, as it has 1 note per string, right? So, like I said, ideal for that kind of stuff. Nevertheless, now you'll notice that what's happening here is this passage. So you might also want to try this when you're using your 3rd finger here as opposed to your 4th. So that is kind of easier to do than having to go back. Okay? So that's going to slow you down. So you might want to try this. Of course, that's not the case when you're doing reversed. Okay? Same thing can be said when you're doing it. Sorry, that was alternated. Same thing when you're doing it reversed. Okay? Might be more comfortable. Then we have, of course, like we have 7/9. Okay, I tend to practice these 5 notes arpeggios in 2 different ways, although in the PDF I only write it, once. So 1 note at the extremes. 2 notes at the extremes. Okay, same thing for, so that was 7/9, and now you have 6/9. Or just with 1 note. At these strings. Okay, we've done 6/9, we've done 7/9. There is an 11. Okay, so again you can practice with 1 note at the string. Or with 2 notes at the strings. Of course, you can also do it. It's interesting string skipping exercise, right? How many times you're gonna use these kind of jumps? When playing, I don't know. But again, I don't want to stop you from being creative about these things. I also wrote down in the PDF the modal arpeggio, although I cheated a bit because in this particular shape, I can only get to the 11th, so I added the 13. I borrowed the 13 from the shape that we were going to do in the future, but just for the sake of exercise. So now you have this. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. The reason I did that is because that allows us, of course, like, you know, besides practicing the modal arpeggio, right? And we can also harmonize it, and I wrote also, like in the PDF, an exercise for that. So group of 3 notes and group of 4 notes. That's group of 3 notes. Okay, and group of 4 notes. These are very important that you do them, even if at this point I haven't explained you yet the theory of why I'm harmonizing these arpeggios in group of 3 group of notes. We're developing the triads and the chords within, and when we study chord substitutions in the future, or anyway, some of the theories that we get out of normal diatonic scales, the fact that you already know how to execute them is really going to help you. Okay, so let me see. In terms of 2 octaves, the only 2 octaves is the one with the triads that we've seen before. Once we connect the next shape, we're going to have enlarged shapes. So, where are we? So, page 2, then at the end of page 2, you have the cage system related arpeggio. And in the case of the shape of C, it looks like this. So basically, we're exploiting all the intervals that we can find in terms of major 7 in this particular shape. So if this is our root note, that's the major 7, and that's the 5th, and that's the 3rd. Our arpeggio is actually starting from the 3rd. 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5. So we practice these 2. Right. Now, from page, in page 3, you'll have kind of more difficult exercise, but if you had done lesson 7, we looked at the progression that allowed us to practice the 3 skylic forms that we encountered so far. So we had the progression that started in F, then you went to E flat, then you went to A flat, then you went to G, right? And I kind of designed as an exercise the same progression, but this time applied to the arpeggio using the cage system. So it starts in F, okay, and then it moves to E flat, A flat, F sharp, then it's E, A, G, F, B flat, A flat, F sharp, B, and it's basically like written like a sequence. So that you're practicing basically all the 3 shapes that you learned so far, and I find it very useful. It's not very easy at first, so do it kind of slowly. Start from maybe this kind of speed. That's F, that's E flat, that's A flat, A, G, F, E flat, A flat, F sharp. The last exercise I left in the PDF relates to horizontal plank. Basically, as an exercise for the arpeggio, we start from G major 7, right? Then we move to the second shape, and then we move to the third shape, and again. And you just do that up and down just to get used to it, right? you can do them all backwards or, alternating. So you can maybe ascend in this way, descend in this way, ascending. Right? And of course you can do group of 3. Group of 3. And group of 4. And maybe like coming back on this. These are all useful exercises, that you can develop. Now, one last annotation, I don't know how to call it, you'll have to forgive me, English is not my first language, as you know, is these 3 shapes combined also give light to the fact that we can play things over 3 octaves. I'll explain myself. Let's look at the triads very quickly. This is a triad, okay? G, in this case. Now, if I move the same triad in the shape of D, I get this. And if I move the same triad in the shape of C, I get this. So I can have a parallel motion where my finger pattern is actually not changing. Like, so second finger, first finger, fourth finger, okay? And I'm executing 3 octaves of the same thing. I wrote it as an exercise so that you know what I'm talking about. But what's interesting about that, and this is kind of a technique which is often used, I've seen it often used when you want to repeat the same phrases in octaves, okay? And I've seen it used in jazz, I've seen it used in metal. You could take any permutation of finger pattern, say I'm going to take like this scale. So basically 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Okay, I'm talking fingers now. Then move it. Right? Or, I don't know, 1, 3, 4. In this case, we're doing it 3 octaves of arpeggio, right? You could do it with 4 notes. This is basically 4 notes of a major pentatonic. At this stage, I don't need you to understand, like, that was 4 notes of a pentatonic or whatever it is that we're applying to that particular diagonal pattern. The important part is to understand that now we have the possibility of playing something over 3 octaves, okay? And if you think about it, say like I'll play the first 6 notes of G, okay? This is G Ionian. Well, this is 6 notes out of 7 of the scale. So if I actually add this to it, and I just repeat the pattern, I have 3 octaves of the actual scale. Okay, so that's 3 octaves. Of the same, in this case, G Ionian. This works when you're connecting this shape to this shape to this shape. Okay. Also, something interesting that I like to do is to extend I know it's just 1 note, but is the D shape, which theoretically would end here, but I like to add that. Okay. And you can also add the root note up here. Okay, so now you have almost 3 octaves. What you're missing is the major 7 because it starts at the root and ends up on a 5th. But again, in the future, if you want to develop some sweep picking, that's a good place where where to apply these kind of things. So I'm going across 3 chords, 3 shapes of the same chord. So now we come to a little bit of exercising, and by playing. Let's start from the static chord. So basically, we're looking just at one single key. let's start, I'm going to use G, but now we're very familiar with that. So basically when I'm going to loop, I'm going to use different G shapes just, to make it a little bit more interesting for myself. But let's look into something like this. So basically what we're looking at is trying to practice the arpeggios in the key of G. We have major 7, 7/9, 6/9, and the same here, over 2 octaves. Same thing here. That's 6/9, 7/9, 6, 6/9, 7/9. See, the 11 is always kind of difficult to negotiate, as we will see when we study the Lydian mode. So another major scale will have a different option, which actually will be more pleasant. Anyway, let's get into playing. Sixth there. Combining 5, 6, 3. So that was 3, 5, major 7, 9, third, right? And now let me show you instead a progression, so we're actually changing a chord. As I said, we're going to use F, going into G, going into A. I'm going to exercise this in 2 different ways, so you'll see me transitioning from one to the other. First of all, I'm going to try and stay within the gauge, okay? So, using these arpeggios and, again, 6, 7, whatever, for F, G, and everything that comes with that, and A. Okay, but in times I'm gonna start using more shape for the same chord. What I mean by that, when I'm playing F, well, this is also F, so I might use this and combine it. Okay. When it comes to G, of course I also have this as an arpeggio, right? And this. So I'm gonna use, I'm gonna start using them also, right? And when it comes to A, I have this, this, and this, okay? So first I'm gonna stay within the cage as much as possible. And then I'm gonna move, the same arpeggio across different shapes, okay? Let's see if we can do this nicely and properly. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually using the same shape now. Which makes it for parallel playing. In case you want to develop the same idea across chords. Same things like this. A bit cheesy, but yeah. Bit cheesy, but you see, I guess you get my point. G, A, F, that's an A in shape of D, right? F. As I say, the limitation you want to impose on yourself is simply try and stick as much as possible to using arpeggio notes, and try and being aware of what interval you're playing. So, you know, I'm landing on a 9, I'm landing on a 3rd, it's a 5th, it's a 6th, as opposed to pattern playing. So it's just a finger pattern that you're kind of repeating. So I first do it slowly, right? So your brain has time to process things. In this case, I played like, say, 1 bar of F, 1 bar of G, and it was 2 bars of A. You can stretch that. You can do 4 bars of F, 4 bars of G, and maybe 8 bars of A. So your brain has got time. When you're learning, you need the brain to be involved. Muscle memory will build through the exercises, obviously, that you're doing from the PDFs. But for as long as you can't hear it in your head, then that means that your brain needs to be involved. And by hearing it in your head, I mean, this might be a little bit embarrassing, but what I mean is, let me do something quickly and I'll show you what I mean. So let's take the same progression quickly. I can kind of hear it and I could sing it to you, okay? That's actually what I mean. It's a bit embarrassing, but you know, I'm not a singer. That's kind of what I mean, you know, in a rudimental manner, by hearing it, okay? So at that point, I'm not playing patterns, I'm not playing my muscle memory, I'm trying to create melodies out of that. So that's improvising in a nutshell. Although in this case, we're only using 3 words, okay? So arpeggios in G, and arpeggios in F, and arpeggios in A. And so that's just like an ABC. As we study all these exercises, you know, intervals and all the stuff that I'm kind of asking you, I'm suggesting you to practice, we're developing that middle section with, you know, basically the words. So, you know, table, chair, sun, right? And when we're playing, we're trying to recombine them, you know, in a melodic manner and create phrases. And that is pretty much what soloing is about, right? So right now we're restricted with the amount of words we're using. I hope you understand the logic of what I'm saying, because as always, to me, that's the most important aspect of doing these lessons, that you understand the logic of things, so that you can possibly educate yourself, okay? That is it for this particular lesson. I hope you find it informative, and that maybe helps you in developing further your guitar skills if you feel like if you feel the need of it, obviously. And well, until next time, I wish you all the best.